Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ryal Thomas. Tonight's topic is titled Self-Destruction. But before I actually get started with this, I just want to share a moment that I witnessed today at a local grocery store. It was a young lady in front of the store, and apparently a bird had, I don't know if it dropped out of a nest, I don't know if the bird had just flew into a wall or flew into a car or whatever the case may have been. But I found it very interesting for her to reach down and start to caress this bird. And the bird was just sitting there accepting it. And I don't know if I was looking at things differently, or maybe what I was actually seeing was actually happening. The bird would glance up at this individual while she was stroking the bird's head and making these funny little sounds that I've never heard from a bird before. I don't know if it was sounds of pain or sounds of comfort or sounds of love, appreciation. But it just made me realize that what the touch of love can do for not only us humans, but just for someone or something in need of just a touch of love. It was remarkable. And I just wanted to say that, and just wanted to let you guys out there in TV land know that love can conquer just about anything. Just about anything. So I wanted to share that because it's been on my heart, ever since I've seen it. So just remember, love is in the air. Okay. Again, like I said, tonight's topic is called self-destruction. Sometimes we as individuals, we get involved in certain things that we do not look down the road and see that it may not be in the best interest of us. We have a tendency to look at the surface, the part that's down the road we never take a look at. For example, and I'm going to give several examples this evening. For example, you may be, going out and you may be drinking. Right from the beginning, it appears to be, I'm just having fun, with my friends or, with relatives, or we getting ready to go to a party, so I want to make myself get a little buzz here going, and that's right there in the forefront. And before I go too far with this, I also want to say this. As we get older, we start to think a little bit more in depth about our actions. Not saying that I haven't contributed to the same act in the past. It's just that I'm older now and I can recognize it and I look at it and see, oh my God, I'm glad I made it through. But I'm trying to say tonight that we all, regardless of what age we may be, we need to take a look at some of the activities that we're involved in and not just look at what's on the surface. Look at what may come about, driving home. Look at what may come about pulling up on a road check. Look at all the possibilities. And I'm not saying that you need to be paranoid about every little act you do, because that takes away the spark of life. That takes away the enjoyment of enjoying your life. But you do not want to enjoy your life to the point where it jeopardizes your life or the lives of others. And that's where it gets questionable. You may be doing something that will cause self-destruction for your life. You've been drinking. You pull up on a road check, or you accidentally get involved in an accident because of your drinking. Now we have to deal with the courts. Now we have to deal with a loss of license. Now we have to explain why we cannot, get to our job on time. Now we have to go through all of this, all of these complications that will come about due to the fact that you have been drinking. You know, I'm just saying that there's so many activities that we can get involved in, you know, because something appeared to look good in the beginning. It's, you know, I'm always getting letters, you know, people are always asking, you know, to talk a little bit about more, I should say, about relationships. It's apparent to me that maybe, you know, a lot of people are having problems, you know, in the relationship, and problems that are not being talked about with their loved one or with their spouse or with their significant other. But you need to reevaluate some things if there are that many problems going on, because without solving some of these problems, you're still looking at self-destruction. You know, you're still looking at self-destruction because you may move in with someone and you don't have an understanding on who's responsible for what, or what we expect out of one another in a relationship. And these conversations, if these conversations are not met, and you just jump into something haphazardly without knowing what to do from point A to point B, self-destruction. You're to the point where you're just flying in the wind. You're flying by the wind, like this is okay now, this is okay today, but it may not be okay tomorrow. So these are some things that we need to look at. Again, everything that looks good is not actually good for you. And we can actually be tricked into believing that the outcome is something good due to what's being seen at that particular moment. We can actually be fooled. We can actually be tricked, not knowing what may be on someone else's mind or someone else's heart. And you're putting trust and you're putting a certain amount of belief in someone without actually realizing where is this going. See, do not set yourself up for failure. Do not set yourself up to the point where you're self-destructing and you don't even realize it. You have to be very careful about that. Be very careful. Think it through. Think it through. When you start seeing problems or start seeing complications that come up, and these complications were not there at first, believe and understand that there are more to come. There are more to come. And if you excuse those acts and those conversations and those statements as if, oh, it'll get better. And I'm not saying that it's not going to get better, but it may be getting better in your mind. You may believe that this situation is going to be a positive situation in the end. That's in your mind. Do not self-destruct. Do not believe everything that you feel and everything that you think. Because, see, the wind can change. And it can change based on the activities of something or someone else. And you need to recognize that. Recognize that. You may be, you know, for individuals who may be involved in some illegal activities, and you may be sitting back thinking, well, I'm making X amount of dollars, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and I have a pretty car, and I have a little bit of money in my pocket. You are so caught up on the immediate rewards. You're not even looking at the fact that you're heading to jail. You're not even looking at the fact that prison is right down the road for you. And if you think that you can outslick or outthink someone who's actually changing shifts on you, and let me explain what I mean when I say that. If, and I'm not saying that you are, but if you are involved in the distribution of things that you shouldn't be distributing, when you go to sleep, the authorities are changing shifts on you. They're changing shifts. They have another shift coming in, picking up where the other shift left off. So how are you going to outthink someone who never stopped thinking when you're asleep? Self-destruction. And you put yourself in a situation where you leave your family, you leave your loved ones, you put yourself in a situation where your wife or your husband have to go out and do other things because the support that you were giving to your loved one is gone. Self-destruction. And you don't see that. You don't see that, but you know, deep down inside, you know, I look at the news all the time, and it's always something new. It's always someone going back so many years or someone going back and saying something. Now, I will say this. I don't do too much judging of the past of someone. I will say that. You know, if a person that's, you know, have gotten their life together and, you know, and things are moving for them in a positive manner, you know, don't get in the way of those individuals, because those individuals may be driven by the fact that they have done so much, you know, wrong, you know, whether it be to the family, to society, to the community. But when you have those individuals who pull themselves up and move on, they realize the wrong that has been done. So I'm not condemning anyone. I'm just saying that if you are involved in certain things that's going to jeopardize your life or jeopardize the kids' growth or just jeopardize everybody and more so jeopardize you, you need to understand that life is short and life is grand, life is beautiful. To sit there and to waste it on something that you know that situation awaits you in the end. See, everyone basically know the end result to what they're involved in. When people reflect back on what the day has brought about and what the day consists of, you know, an intelligent mind will rewind the acts and comments and statements that were made throughout the day. And they will know where their wrongs are. They will feel them. They will see it. But you know what? When the morning comes, an individual may jump back up and do the same old thing. And if you're trying to get away from certain things or certain feelings that you may have, you're trying to get away from certain feelings that you may have, certain thoughts that you may have. See, sometimes it's best to move in another direction, to move in another circle of individuals who are thinkers. See, you have to move with people who are trying to move, not individuals who are sitting back complaining and finding fault in everything that you are doing. See, you will self-destruct in a destructive environment Because, see, there's no light within that environment. If you're in an environment of just foolishness, nonsense, negative conversations, what we going to do? And everything you're hearing is negative? How are you going to be positive? So sometimes when you feel like you are self-destructing, think it through and take some time out and look at what your participations are. Look at what you're participating in. Just look at it and be real with yourself, because it's your life. Look at what you are doing. Look at the people that you are hanging around with. Look at the people that you are talking to when you want some sort of advice. Are these individuals even qualified to give you constructive criticism? And if you want a yes person, you can talk to the average person for that. If you want someone to confirm some negative thoughts that you have, that just may be the individual that you can walk up to. But what I'm trying to tell you is that you need to see these things. You need to understand that you need to affiliate and associate with individuals who are thinking, who are not about all this craziness, because you will fall prey to it. You will be trapped into a mindset that you think is all right, because you live it every day. Man, sometimes you got to take the long way home. Sometimes you have to go to a different grocery store. Sometimes you need to go to a different restaurant. Sometimes you need to see that individual that you work with, that everybody else is talking about. Sometimes you need to go over there and sit with that individual that's having lunch, because that individual who's sitting alone, that individual is not talking about anyone. That's the one you want to sit down and talk to. You'd be surprised what he or she has to say. Now try to talk to them about some foolishness. They don't want to hear it. And that may be the reason they're sitting alone, because they're alone with their own thoughts, with their own ideas, saying, I'm not even going to share it, because the majority of the conversation here in this workplace is just gossip. Now, how is that going to push you to the next level? And then when it's time for a raise, the supervisor or the CEO looks over at him or her and say, that's who I'm going to give the raise to. That's who I want in this position. See, a thinker, not getting caught up in all the other stuff, not trying to self-destruct. Now let me hit something here with you for a moment. I'm going to go in it, but I'm not going to stay in it. You must understand that the spirit that lies within you knows the difference. You know that guilt that you feel when something is wrong, or maybe you have done something wrong. You know, sometimes the words that come out of your mouth may be not what the spirit feels. But see, you're trying to hold up an image. You're trying to make yourself feel good and make others appreciate some of the things that you're saying. But see, while you lying there in bed at night, your spirit works on you. Your inner thoughts starts to make you feel a certain way. And these are feelings that you need to pay close attention to. Because see, now these feelings, they don't have any outside influences. They don't have them. And when you have outside influences that mess with the internal spirit the soul that we all have, it becomes a conflict. Because, see, you're dealing with two different energies. The soul, the spirit doesn't want you to self-destruct. But because of what you may have thought about, because of what you may have done, and because of the notoriety, whether it be positive or whether it be negative, you like that feeling. And what you may have done is not pleasing to the spirit, not pleasing to the soul, but the words and the praise of others push you to the point where you ignore the right thing. You ignore it. Man, the flesh, is so weak. And that's why it's good to affiliate yourself with individuals who can guide you, who can help you. Because, see, sometimes, especially individuals who care, sometimes individuals who care, they can see your faults better than you can. Because they're looking at you. They're watching you. No, they're not analyzing you. They're watching you because they're concerned about you. And then when something goes wrong, what do you do? What do you say? Because for you, it was a normal thing. It was a normal thing to go over here. It was a normal thing to invite this person here or to invite this person there. It was a normal thing. But you don't know what the intentions are for the individual that you may have invited. And you look at it from a whole different level. You have to be careful when you're bringing people into your circle, when you are bringing people into your life. You have to understand that the words that they share, the message that they bring, it does something to you. It can modify your thoughts. It can have you moving in a whole different direction. And that the direction is not what you have chosen. It's the direction that they have chose for you. But you don't see that because you welcome it in. Nothing wrong with having new people in your life or different people in your life. It's nothing wrong with it. But make sure that those individuals understand the value of life, the value of their life. If someone values their life, they also value your life because they know the importance of living a good life. We all want to pick up the phone and call someone when not only when we are in need, but we all want to pick up the phone and say, hey, how did your day go today? Hey, what you do today? What you doing this weekend? We don't want to pick the phone up all the time and hear something negative, hear something positive. I mean, I understand, hear something negative, I should say. I understand people get excited over certain activities, but get excited over moving in the right direction. Because, see, set yourself up for the future. You know, people say, I'm going to live for the moment. You understand that. You don't have a good time while you're living. But don't let that moment stop the future. You can't let that happen. The moment may be a determining factor of where you will be next week, next month, next year. And it's not always going to be good, and it's not always going to be bad, but we all have the power to look at things realistically. Just look at them. Don't try to justify, try to make excuses as to why you did what you did or why you said what you said. Look at what it may cause. Be real with yourself and ask yourself, am I doing the right thing right now? Am I taking the right job? Am I dealing with the right person? Am I going to the right place? See, you don't need to, like I said before, you don't need to have a question and analyze and look at everything analytically. You don't need to do that because that takes away the spark of life. But understand that this is your life. And you have to be careful about who you bring in your circle. You have to be careful about what you do outside of your circle. It's your life. So I'm saying, do not self-destruct. Do not self-destruct. Because only you can set the path straight for you. Only you can do that. Only you. So keep that in mind. Do not self-destruct. Look at things before you jump into it. This has been Ryal Thomas. I'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.